What's going on, everyone? It is Garrett and welcome back to another video. Now today's video is the weekly portfolio review series. We're already on our 4th episode. It's just insane that I've gone through literally 4 weeks of doing this. So to basically be a part of this video, if you guys are new to the channel, there's a Discord server in the description below. All you have to do is join the Discord and submit your work through the weekly submissions chat. You'll see it on screen right now. And it's pretty easy to send your portfolio or your recent work in, and then you're going to see if you're the lucky one picked. Now, I am not the one that picks people anymore. I have people just randomly pick 3 people, so everything's at random and no one's basically judged out. So everyone has the same chance as everyone else. So with that being said, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn the notifications on and enjoy the rest of the video. Peace out. Alright, what is up? We're on my desktop. Now before this video starts, I want to make sure everyone goes ahead and submits their work for the next week's portfolio review series. But with that being said, let's get right into the first person. So the lucky enough person to get into this is Concept Callum. He sent his Behance portfolio. And basically the first thing you're going to see is that he's a photographer and a graphic designer. He's from the United Kingdom. He focuses on graphic design, illustration, and branding, and then of course, the bio and whatever else. So, basically the first thing that caught my eye especially is going to be the name. Now, I came from a very different community, as a lot of people may be watching this video. I came from a Call of Duty community, the esport community, so a lot of the times I used an alias called Bear. You guys know my channel, BEHRDESIGN. And what I would really recommend doing before you blow up, before you get a lot of interactions on your work, is try to focus on using your main name. So using your real name, like for example, I'm using Garrett Malone now, and of course I had to build up a fan base around that instead of Bear, but it will help you out in the long run, especially when you're trying to get that more professional work. Now hopping into your portfolio, we're going to go through the thumbnails, the first things first. So basically what I want to talk about the thumbnails is they're not bad whatsoever. They basically show what's going to be inside the work, and it's basically self-explanatory. But what I would recommend doing is just trying to mess around with different fonts and different ways you're going to put the text style onto it. I'm not a big fan of the drop shadow nor the font style, but of course that's just my opinion. It could be totally different for you, but I would just recommend maybe trying out a few different things. So hopping over into the logo portfolio first. So I did go through all these portfolios ahead of time, so I do have a couple of notes written down, but we're basically going to scroll through this together. And you're going to see that each logo is mocked up on some type of business card, some type of paper, and they all are like this. Now, of course, it's a really cool style. It's really nice to show what the logo would look like if it's printed on paper, if it was showcased on something. But what I'd recommend doing is, of course, trying to push your logo forward and trying to put it on like a one-on-one shot. What I mean by that is taking, like, let's just say this K logo and putting it on a black background with a white logo on a black background, or a color, some type of color code, anything like that. But I want it to be like 2D, and what happens is it makes it look a lot more professional, especially when you click on something, because you don't want to just go onto a portfolio and just see all the mock-ups. Like I said, they're very cool, but you definitely want to showcase what the logo looks like by itself, because it's honestly day and night between what it can look like and what it does look like. But the logo work itself is just really, really great. That's just my only recommendation, is putting it on a flat background, because it's just going to make your work just seem a lot more professional and a lot more showcase. Another thing that I want to talk about is going to be line weight. Now, especially with the logo you have right here, this astronaut, or excuse me, the spaceship, whatever, going up in the sky, you can see that there's really thin lines cutting out the shape right here, and there's really big bold lines that are going around it. Now, what the issue is going to happen is those really big bold lines are going to take over everything else, so you're not going to be able to basically see those small cuts out of it if you scale the logo down really, really small. And that's another thing that you're going to see when you put it on a flat background, and even the client or a person looking at your portfolio to hire you is going to see. But nonetheless, everything is really, really great. I would just recommend maybe trying to put the logo on a different kind of background, and it will just make everything seem a lot nicer. So going off of that, we're gonna head over to your emotes. So first things first, man, emotes are amazing. I think that if anyone makes emotes, is a great skill to know, especially with Twitch blowing up lately. It's very, very good skill to know. Now going into these, I really love most of these. The bottom one is not my favorite, and I'll explain why. But the playful pineapple, the rip in the chat, the skull, everything looks really, really great. Now what I would recommend doing is maybe taking your time and trying to mess around with the shape builder tool, and making sure that all the lines come correct, because you can see right here in the bottom part that the the skulls don't really line up with this black thick line. And you're not really gonna see it when it's scaled down, but of course I see it now, and it's definitely like a turn off in my mind. Also, maybe not having this line up with the jawline would be another tip that you can do. So going off of that, what I would really like about all of your emotes that you should do a lot more is going to be the very simplistic cartoonish style. So these three are especially really good because they're cartoonish, they follow a theme, they follow a style, and that's what you're gonna get hired for. You're gonna get hired for making these playful emotes. And I just like how everything's so, colorful. I also like how you didn't use black lines around everything. The way that you use like a maroon line, or this one is black, but it does match the gray scale. But you like how you use different colors throughout the border. But what the issue is about the paint one is the lines are really black. There's a lot of stuff going on in the emote, and when you take it and you scale it down, all that's not going to show. Emotes are meant to be basic. They're meant to show what's going to be, people typing in the chat. Usually it's just text in a layer style or a logo in a layer style. It's not a lot of stuff. So I would just recommend maybe trying to tone it down. Think more simplistic like you did with the pineapple, the rip, and the skull, and it would just look a lot better. Now, another recommendation you can also take is the way these are presented. Now, you don't have to take this is just an idea, but what I would recommend doing is taking like the logo or the emote that you made, put it on the left hand side, and on the right hand side, try to put it into a showcase showing people what it would look like if someone used it in a chat. I see it on Twitter a lot, and I really think that it would help your work and your portfolio tremendously. But nonetheless, really good work, dope presentation for everything, and I want to say really good job on everything like this. And then last but not least, we're gonna head over to your photography. And I don't really know a whole lot about photography. I basically just go out with my camera and I take pictures, but I really like looking at it, and I think it's really cool if people experiment with it. And I don't really have anything to say about it to critique it, other than maybe messing around more with like presets that you can make and colorways and stuff like that. But the composition and everything else is really cool. You're really captivating everything, and it really looks top tier. Thus, the only thing you could maybe worry about is if you're going to be putting your tag on the bottom left hand corner, try to be consistent throughout each piece to do it, and it'll just help out your work so much more. But nonetheless, like I said, just worry about adding more filters, trying different things, and see what works best for you. But nonetheless, man, really awesome work. And if you guys want to check him out, you guys can see his social media and his portfolio in the description below. With going off of that, we're gonna have the next person, and this is gonna be, I think, Keithan, also known as Designer Pilot. He is a YouTuber. He basically makes a lot of graphic design tutorials, motion design tutorials, basically everything. Really great guy. So the first thing I saw in your portfolio was the branding presentation was absolutely phenomenal. The only thing I would recommend doing is you see the little bio next to your name. I would just recommend toning that down a lot. That's just a lot of words for someone to read, and I think looking at it, it's just a lot of words, and I don't even want to read it. So what you can do, put your main focus there. So put YouTube content creator or put graphic designer. You don't have to put aspiring UI and UX designer, apparel designer, motion designer. All that kind of stuff is definitely not needed. You can put that in your focuses, which is literally 2 things below that, and just really try to focus on captivating what you want to do personally. So going off of that, we're gonna head over to your brand identity case study, and we're gonna go through this as a team right now. We're just gonna scroll through. I'm not gonna read everything to you guys, but you guys can read it on your own time or pause the video. So really quickly, right here is going to be the logo transformation from his Devil Cube logo to his Design Pilot logo. I did know him through Devil Cube, and I do know him through Design Pilot, and you can see that this is a really big change. It's a big name change, it's a big design style change, but nonetheless, it is really cool, and I could definitely recommend staying with this. It really helps out the whole entire style. So the presentation itself is just really awesome. I like how you put logo variations that you made but didn't use. You put a star on the one you did use. Everything looks really great. Now, a few things that I could recommend to make this a little bit better is going to be, a lot of the times you have like this really skinny thin font right here that's really big and bold. What you want to do is make this a little bit smaller. If someone's scrolling through a brand identity, you want them to first of all just go over here and see the word social media header first, and then this will be a lot smaller. If I could recommend a size just off the top of my head, maybe something like that big. And what it's going to do, it's going to be there so if people want to look at it, they can, and if it's there and people just glance at it, it's going to be something that it's just going to glance. They're not going to stare at it and read it. They want to glance at it and then be like, oh, okay, I remember that size. So that's my first recommendation. And going up into the top part, right here you have the white to yellow flickering. What I could recommend doing is maybe even changing it from yellow to purple, following the brand study that you did through going through yellow and purple. Great idea, by the way. You know, yellow and purple are complementary colors. It works so well, just like green and red, blue and orange, and everything like that. So really great job on your brand identity case study. That was just my only recommendations, and I think that it looks phenomenal. Going off of that, we're gonna head over to your Mascot folio. So if you go over here, you have a bunch of them. You have 2017, 2018. So we're gonna go to the most recent one. And the first thing that I noticed, especially when I clicked on this, is a crazy amount of improvement from a while ago. Now, I've known you for a pretty long time, I can say, and I do know your work. And you made a lot of progress throughout the time that we haven't talked and I've seen your portfolio. So, you know, just making sure that the lines meet up with everything. Now, especially this one's really great. I like the way everything looks, but scrolling down further into this, you're going to see that in some of these logos, you're not going to have these perfect line meetups everywhere. You're going to see like these extra lines there that you don't see in each part of the letters. And I think, you know, taking that and making sure that those are, you know, fine-tuned and look great is going to help your work just a lot better. This controller one is just really nice. The only recommendation is maybe putting that 3D effect on the text as well. It could maybe help it out a bit, maybe not. Always good to try something new. And then last but not least, your Xfinity logo. I'm not too sure how to pronounce that. This is, you know, I think one of your best works, especially through your Mascot folio. But one recommendation is you have this layer style consistently throughout the text, throughout the background of the logo, and the only thing it's not on is the star. Now, I do recommend putting on the star and just trying it out. I can guarantee that it will put some type of flair onto your logo. What I recommend doing is even taking the text logo layer style, the text logo gradient, and putting it on the star, and it will make it look a lot better. But with that being said, great work, you know, great improvements from the last time I've seen your work, and just really great job overall. Going into the last piece we're going to look at is going to be the motion design folio. Motion design is really awesome. So what I'm going to personally do is I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to just let you guys watch all of these, and then we're going to talk about them. Alright, so we just watched 4 of them, and those are the 4 I'm going to talk about. So with the first one, I'm going to mute this, I'm just going to let it play again. So you have basically a Mascot intro, the Mascot flips in, and that's basically it. The background is a bunch of plexus stocks going back and forth, and it does look really, really great. And of course, I'm not a motion designer myself, but I have worked a lot with motion designers, and I have done a lot of work with, you know, George. I've done a lot of work with Philly, who now works for FaZe. So I know a lot about motion design. I don't know how to create it mostly, but I do know a lot about it. So my biggest recommendation for your Mascot intros especially, now I could talk about the 2D after this, but the Mascot logos especially is going to be including more. Now, I'm going to mute this one, and this one really caught my eye more. So you're going to see basically the logo comes around, the text breaks like a bunch of ice or whatever, and then the hands grab the intro, it shakes around, and that's basically it. So real quick, that's a great style, it's a really cool thing, but I recommend doing is just trying to do a little bit more. So what I mean by that is try to create like more things happening, because you have a lot of time where this logo literally just sits in the middle of the screen and doesn't do anything. And what you can do is you can try to animate the entire logo, you can try to have it come from like a different perspective or a different angle or anything like that. What I can show you, the best recommendation is a intro that George made for my my old agency for a client, and you can see basically how, you know, there's more things going on, and it really catches your eye, and everything has a nice flow to it. The logo does sit in the middle, but after everything happens, and even the logo itself is moving up and down to create something happening. I really recommend doing something like that, and trust me, it will change your work tremendously. And then with that being said, going into your 2D work, everything is just great. I would just recommend maybe trying a different song choice for your iPhone one, especially when right here where that iPhone X thing comes. If you just had like a beat drop or something happen, it would just make it seem so much more. With that being said, just really great work, man. You guys can all check him out on his YouTube channel in the description below. You can check him out on Behance right now. Really great guy, and thank you for submitting your portfolio, and I hope you learned something. So going into the last person, we have Shelts Joseph. Now, I know Shelts personally, or Joseph, I don't even know what his name is. I know him about a bunch of aliases, but I do know him a lot. And he's an amazing digital artist and concept artist, and I really enjoyed that he's trying to do different things and trying to advance into Mascot logos. So going into his Dribbble account, I'm going to go through each of these logos one by one since there's only 4 of them. The pencil logo is really cool, the Z logo, and I did talk about this on stream. It's very simple, it's very cartoonish. I feel like this could be used for like a kid's book or a kid's design. But what I really recommend doing is thinking more outside the box. What I mean by that is you have right here a logo. Now what you have on this version is a really straight edge. Now if you grab a pencil, any pencil next to you, you're going to realize the pencil has an eraser on the end. And what you can literally do is just add like an eraser right there. And what it's going to do is it's just going to make the logo seem more full. It's going to make it seem like an actual pencil, not just like a pencil with no end. And it's just going to make it seem more together. It's going to basically take away the really sharp edges, and it's going to basically put something there that people are going to use to identify what it is. That's my biggest recommendation for that. And then going into your 2 Mascot logos, as an artist, I know that you're really good with shadows, good with lighting and everything that. And you really need to think dumb when you're doing Mascot logos. And I'm not just saying that to bash people. What you need to do is think about big body shapes, big shadow shapes, less hard cuts for shadows and for lighting and stuff like that. You can save all those really detailed lines for your paintings, but for Mascot logos especially, you really want to think simple big shapes and all of that. And what it's going to do, it's going to take your logo and it's going to make it seem more dimensional, more sporty looking, and it's going to look absolutely insane. But nonetheless, the work itself is just really great. You guys can all check it out in the description below. And the last thing is going to be this Pyro Boys skull logo. I remember when he personally made this, and it's just a great concept overall. Great execution, just an amazing logo. The text below it is a little bit iffy, but it does match the whole entire theme, and that's basically all I can say about it. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys want to check out each person, they're going to be in the description below. You guys can check out Callum or Concept. You guys can check out Cheethan or Designer Pilot or Keithan, whatever his name is. I'm super sorry for pronouncing everything wrong. And then last but not least, you guys can check out Joseph in the description below. And with that being said, I hope you guys learned something for today's video. Make sure to subscribe and make sure to join the Discord and submit your week or your portfolio for the next week's video. And with that being said, I hope you guys learned something. I'm Garrett. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.